Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 452, written by momomoments. Secrets of my mom and I confusing 7 a.m. for 4 a.m. This happened when I was 16. My mother used to take my phone at night and then give it back to me when she woke me up for school the following morning. Every morning started the same. She would wake me up, I would go to the bathroom to take a shower and get ready. I'd come out and put on my uniform, she'd give me breakfast, and then I'd run out of the house to catch the public bus. This is the important part. I would always take my phone in the bathroom with me. I'm the type of person who plans my day by the minutes. I knew I had to take my shower for X amount of minutes, get out of the bathroom by X, leave the house at X to catch the bus. So, the same routine, I was in the bathroom and I remember it so clearly. My shower took way longer than usual, and instead of it being 7:15, the phone said 7:23. I remember rushing out of the bathroom as I was supposed to leave the house by 7:25 most days. I rushed and put on my uniform and my mom followed me half out of the house with breakfast. I distinctly remember checking the clock before I left too, trying to figure out if I had the time to catch the bus or if I had to take a car to school. The clock was 7:28. I had time to catch the bus. It was a snowy day in January. I also remember that part vividly. The sky was gray and dark, but that's how it was every day. The streets were eerily empty. I stood at my bus stop, which was on the side of a pretty busy street. Not today. No one was on the street. Maybe a car passed by once every few minutes. I started getting worried that I'd be late for school. That's when I looked down at my phone to call my dad to drop me off at school. It was 4:03 a.m. I was shocked. It couldn't be. I walked back home and my mom was still up, getting my other sister ready for school. She was surprised to see me. I told her to check the time and to her surprise, it was 4 a.m. She started saying how she swore her alarm woke her up at 7, like it does every single morning. And we both looked at each other and swore we saw the time. A 4 a.m. snowy day and a 7 a.m. snowy day looked the same outside, but I knew I checked the clock enough times to confirm it was 7 a.m. Regardless, we all went back to sleep, and I again woke up at 7. This time I made my dad take me to school, and the whole day I had my eyes on the clock. This incident never happened to me again, but I still have no explanation for it. Bonus file, written by BitchWar-Only. Secrets of a voice yelling, "Go away." My uncle's house was constructed from zero, but the place where it is had been abandoned for a long time before he started building. I have so many stories from there that, to me, prove it is indeed haunted, but I'll begin with the oldest one I can remember, before there even was a house there. Right next to the house, there's a kindergarten. I studied there when I was a kid, just like my mom and her brothers before me. There was always a playground legend about a man in a military uniform who called the kids to go behind the school, and then they disappeared. Even as a kid, I remember being so afraid of going to that particular place behind the school, but as I grew up, I stopped thinking about it. Fast forward a few years, and my uncle's house had just been finished. One night, when I was out doing laundry with my cousin, I decided I wanted to see the kindergarten from above, as it had been years since I saw it on the inside. So we went to the balcony, and I got a really good view of the place. After a few seconds, I noticed someone walking in between the classrooms and to the back of the school. I couldn't see their faces, but my whole body tensed as I saw the shadow go through the wall and then disappear behind the school. I remembered the story from my childhood and still wonder if that is the same man the kids saw back then. The second story. Most of my paranormal experiences I've had have been with said cousin I mentioned earlier, so I do believe her when it comes to paranormal things she's told me that happened in my uncle's house. One of the scariest ones for her was a time when she had just come home from school and wanted to ask her aunt, let's call her Sarah, if they were going to eat at her grandparents' house or if they would be staying there. So she goes to the bottom of the stairs and yells, "Aunt Sarah, are you here?" To which Sarah's voice responded, "Yes." Then my cousin yelled again, "Are we gonna go to Grandma's?" But no one answered after that. After a few minutes without a response, my cousin went to the second floor and started looking for Sarah, but there was absolutely no one there, not a single person. She then called her on her phone, only to find out that they had all gone to her grandparents' house and were waiting for her to go as well. She ran out of there and didn't come back for weeks as she was too afraid of the voice she heard. I wasn't present when this happened, but it's important to the next story, where I was present. After those, a bunch of other paranormal things happened to her and our family too. They decided they would call a priest to bless the house and invited everyone to pray and later hang out with them. My whole family was there, 20 plus people in the backyard as the priest blessed the house. We were all praying and singing, happy, united, when suddenly, just as the priest was going to climb the stairs to the second floor, a loud voice sounded, as if it was coming from where we were standing, and it said, "Go away." My 14-year-old self was shaking with fear, but the lady that was directing the prayer yelled at us to pray louder and take each other's hands. A lot of people were crying with horror at what we had just witnessed. That has to be one of the scariest things I've ever experienced, and for that I'm convinced that there is something horrible hiding in my uncle's house. Bonus file, written by Nutbastard. Secrets of a ghost terrifyingly picking you up. I was probably 5 or so. My brother was 7. We shared a room, 2 twin mattresses just on the floor. We both saw a misty figure come through the south wall of the room. It wasn't human in shape, but it also wasn't a typical spooky ghost. We were both scared and didn't know what was happening. The ghost grabbed hold of me and lifted me into the air. My brother grabbed my leg, trying to keep me from being taken. The ghost was taking me up and we moved towards the west wall. At this point, I was about 5 feet in the air. My brother was still hanging onto my leg, and we were both hysterical. As the ghost passed through the west wall, I did not, and me and my brother dropped to the floor. With all the noise we made, and the 2 of us hitting the floor, our dad stormed in and started yelling at us. We tried to explain, but he didn't believe us. My brother and I didn't talk about it for 20 years, but when it came up, we both had the exact same sequence of events, finishing each other's sentences. I know memory is a fickle thing at best, but we both remember it. I remember having the wind knocked out of me when I hit the ground. I remember being picked up and my brother tugging on my leg and us both falling when the ghost passed through the wall. Case file number 453, written by agurlll. Secrets of Deja Vu on Steroids. Okay, so I, 22 female, was selected to go on a study tour across my country. It was me with 3 other students from my university, whom I had never spoken to before. One of them, 21 male, was physically impaired. He lost one of his hands in an accident a few years ago. Anyway, we went on this trip. It was fun. The friend and I got a lot closer. Cut to the last day of the trip. We were visiting a mall to kill some time. I was conversing with him and asked him if he had ever experienced phantom hand pain. I wanted to know if that was a thing. That's when I felt it. It wasn't just a déjà vu. It was as if I had this exact same conversation before. I knew what he was going to say next. I asked him the questions and I already knew his answers, word for word. I've never met the person before. I've never asked that question to anyone else. I've never been to that place before in my life. So I know it wasn't a memory. I don't know what it was, but it was very unsettling. I kept thinking to myself, how is this even happening? I've experienced a lot of déjà vus before, but never like this. It really freaked me out. Case notes, file number 453. I've had déjà vus in my life too, of course. I think we've all had that sensation that this has already happened before. It's said to be caused by a slight delay in your brain's processing centers. Keep in mind that as we observe reality, our brain is doing all kinds of funky trickery to make it all sync up, but the stimuli isn't all entering our brains or processing at the same speed. For instance, it takes a lot longer for light to enter your brain and be processed into a coherent image than it does for your brain to decode noise. Actually, that's why people's reaction times for auditory stimuli are so much faster than by sight, more than twice as fast if I recall. But it all feels instantaneous and synced up because of our brain's magic. Now this does help to explain general déjà vu, but knowing and being able to predict an entire conversation, well, that's evidence of a server loop or something right there. Much more than just processing delays.